Board of Works meeting. Phyllis, would have roll call, please?
Craig Churchill.
Here.
Bill Carba.
Here. Here. You emailed a copy of the minutes from our November 20th meeting. If there's any changes or corrections, please make note of it, and if not, I'd look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second.
A motion and a second to approve the minutes from November 20th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Jeremy, Don. Jeremy and Don.
Jeremy Dunn.
Yeah.
Talk about Dave Hirely's property here. They came out and took a look at your property, and I think Jeremy or Don, one of them gave you a call, or maybe Kurt. Was it you, Kurt? Yeah. Yeah. Why don't you come up too, Kurt? Basically, it's your project anyhow. You're paying for it. Jeremy, you looked over the whole situation. We've taken down enough houses. You came up with a figure of, I think, 8,500. Is that right? For what we could demo and haul it away, fill it back in, and level it off for. Correct?
That would be all concrete removal from the property. And they're all back into this place.
I just kind of wanted to know, a little more than $8,500.
That's equipment around the disposal at the landfill. Everything will be properly disposed of.
Okay.
The sidewalk, the steps, any of the foundation would be removed. And then we would haul dirt back in on the property. And basically rough grade the property.
It would be up to you then to get it seeded and watered, whenever you... Although, while that dirt is fresh, I know it's December. Will seed take this time of year?
It'll lay dormant and kick in the spring.
While the dirt is laying there fresh, you might want to communicate with Jeremy. He can tell you where he gets seed when he does these things, and you might want to seed it now.
Right now.
And then come back in the spring where it needs...
You would have to see it and draw it and oversee
Yeah.
it.
Do you have suggestions on what to get to this?
The seeding?
You just have to get you out of local.
Okay, I was thinking about that minister right down the street there, and I'm sure she does landscaping.
Yeah. Dan York.
Yeah, Dan York, yeah. So that should be done yet, when you get that?
We need to go through some mandatory
rough graded.
employee training, safety training, get this
Hey,
year.
let me jump in here.
Leads finished up.
Let me jump in here. The agreement that Tim wrote up for this would include rough grading and...
That's what you told me.
That's what you and I talked about.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Rough grading and seeding. So, we'll throw the seed down this year.
Okay.
I would say next spring, if it doesn't come up real good or whatever, then it'd be on you to patch it up
Now,
and water it.
you have the time frames.
Back to what I was saying, we have the required employee training that we have to get done yet this month, and we need to finish up the lead collection. So somewhere probably end of the year, first part of next year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, Jeremy, when you and I talked about this, I think you said between December 20th and February 28th, weather permitting and subject to availability of equipment and personnel.
That gets you down to the end of the year, first part of next year.
Yeah.
That's what I put in here.
Just depends on weather and...
Yeah, the next question I would have, is there any way I can get around the $1,600 taxes by January the 1st? They ain't understanding January 1st. That thing ain't worth...
That's a county thing.
That ain't worth $1,600 tax.
Yeah.
But that's what I get nailed on, if it's still standing January the 1st. I don't know if I can get a subsidy from the
$1,600?
county on that, or not.
I would make a recommendation that if we agree to this, you get a copy of it, take it to the next county commissioners meeting,
Okay.
and ask them to give you an opportunity to not...
Or does he go to the...
Yeah, whatever you...
The commissioners or...
Be a county assessor.
The county assessor to get on the agenda of the county commissioners, is that right?
Yeah, go to the county assessor's
County
office.
assessor ultimately is the one that does
Take
it.
a copy of this.
It's a service
But
contract.
that's out of our hands, Dave, that's a county
Your
thing.
advice, though, that's what I really need.
Yeah.
Take the, if we consider this and you agree with whatever we're going to do, take it over to the assessor's office, then have them take it and get it. You might want to walk it over there and get it on the agenda of the commissioners.
Do we have a copy of this that we can
Yeah,
read?
there's multiple copies for everybody to sign it.
Okay.
You guys
I mean,
approve it,
if-
and he, yeah, there's a copy for him.
Let's give him a copy to read while we can go in the next business and come back to
Yeah.
it. Dave, it's about a 1.5 page document. I want to have you take it right now, look it over. If you have questions, ask us. We'll go on to our next order of business while you're reading that. Take your time. If you want to be somewhere quiet, you can go out in the lobby or something. And then we'll talk about it here in a few minutes. Lenny. Lenny has a couple things. Number one, it's all good. No, we're not doing No Shave January.
Drive me nuts.
First thing he has is about new hire Dan McGill.
Yes, he passed all the requirements to get hired. Phyllis received information from PERF, and I just emailed Phyllis some available dates that him and his family are available for a swear-in next week. As soon as she gets back with me, if those dates work good for you and you, Mayor, then I can get back with him and set it up.
Okay. And the other one is, what's his name?
His name is Nathan Hunter.
Nathan Hunter.
He too passed all the requirements. Phyllis again got information from PERF that he did pass all requirements. However, with his work schedule at Zerkers, he originally told us that if January 1, 2019 would be possible, and it is. I talked to Phyllis, or emailed Phyllis earlier today, if he can do a swearing like on the 27th or 28th
Of December or
of
something.
December,
Yeah, sure.
and then his official date will begin January 1.
Okay. That's great. That's great.
Dan's uniforms come in, and Nathan's come in too, just got to sew some patches, but other than that, they'll be fully uniformed on their swear dates.
Okay.
Lenny, are you going to swear both of them in the same day?
No, McGill would be next week, depending on
Okay.
Phyllis and your schedule.
So you do have a difference in dates. I think we ran into a situation before where...
Starting at different times.
Exactly.
Yeah, we actually hired Nathan Hunter first, but he's going to begin last, so by the way this, am I not right, or did we
I
hire?
believe Dan McGill was first.
Okay, McGill was first, okay. So then it's all good.
What's his effective date of hire?
Well, Dan McGill's date, you don't have the exact date yet, do you?
I emailed to Phyllis about 5 minutes ago. He's looking at next Monday at any time, and then next Tuesday, anytime between 12 noon and 4 p.m.
Okay, well, you're saying once we swear him in, you're going to put him to work?
We're going to put him right going.
So you're not waiting until January 1, he'd go into...
Yeah, he'll start now.
I think I kind of looked over the pay scale, and he's going to be on the payroll for a couple weeks. I think we have enough for the remainder of the year.
Okay. Good. The other thing I had here for Lenny was about his SOP book.
Yes.
I looked through it. Craig really looked through it.
Yes.
Got a few grammar things that you call out, spelling, word spells, whatever, typos. Those have been corrected by Betsy,
Yes.
and I just want to, I guess, from our perspective, I was very impressed with what you guys put together.
Thank you. I talked a little bit, Craig Dave, we are going to, when you get your new copy, it'll include the ride-along waiver of what we're doing on that, as far as accountability when we get riders. If you look at the SOP, they got to wear a bulletproof vest. Also, no cameras, no video, keep everything confidential. So we're going to put that in there. You'll be seeing that in there. And then, other than that, I mean, we're hoping to get that out to the guys 2019, and then also to our new officers too.
Yeah.
But we will have hard copies at the police station, also at the secretary desk, one for me and one for the patrol division. But to kind of save paper, we're just going to do everything on email and our Dropbox and our computers. So
That's cool.
There was one other thing we had talked about, Lynn, I didn't know if you remember or not, but you said you sometimes have student ride-along?
Correct.
And you're going to make a...
Yeah, it's in that waiver. It's in that waiver. If they're under 18, they have to have a parent's signature. They still have to follow the rules like an adult. So that includes police officers' wives that want to ride for over a period of time. They're going to have to sign that also. So
I'd like to make this a matter of record. So moved. Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, Lenny. That's, like I said, I think it was I'm still not sure exactly how you did it. You said you kind of divvied it up, and it was a kind of a team effort from several of the guys, right?
correct.
Yeah.
They all thought we could tackle the job ourselves. And every month we have a sergeant detective meeting, and we brought some ideas, and then we gave them to Betsy, and then what you see is the finished product.
I'm more and more impressed every month, Lenny.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks.
I think it was an excellent report. Thank you.
Thank you. And you'll get I'll drop off to Phyllis in your slots, you'll keep the binders, but you'll get the new updated version with the correct errors and stuff on it. So, and with Craig's name on the signature part too.
You want to handle this? I'll talk about it. And you. Another order of business was Tim had sent the letter out to Julie McConnell.
Yeah, I got that email.
Today was the deadline, and Phyllis has talked to Julie.
Okay.
And Julie will start.
She has agreed to make payments to pay off the contract.
Yeah, Phyllis is working with her, Julie's bank and employer, and they're going to do a
ACH.
thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I did tell our new recruits when they get the employee packet to read that contract thoroughly. And
so I was happy to hear that. I mean, I looked at the letter today and I saw it was the December 4th, and I went over to Phyllis's office and found out that, yeah, they'd talked, so that's good to hear.
2 more copies.
So, okay. That's all I got with you, Lenny.
okay, thank you.
Has Mr. Hirely had a chance to look it over? Jeremy seemed to think he did.
Yep. We have a chance to look it over?
Yep.
Yeah, any questions, anything we need to revise?
I had a few for him, but we,
Cleared them up?
the big thing was on December or February 28th. If the weather really turns bad and you can't get to it, that's fine with me.
Understand.
As long as it's in the works.
Don't talk like that, Dave. We don't want to have any bad weather.
Wheels and turning, that's all I care.
I told her that it's bad weather.
Dave, come on up here. We'll assign this thing and put it to bed.
Well, the Board of Works needs to approve this
Yeah.
as well.
So we're under the understanding that the city will take care of this when weather permits, try to be within the guidelines, and you're understandable about that with weather, and that you're going to take care of the $8,500 of the cost. And our recommendation is that you take this to the county assessor's office and show him that you've got this underway and that you're trying to demolish this thing, and hopefully they'll give you some kind of release of liability on the tax. That's up to you, though. We're not held accountable for that.
Right.
I think that's a pretty good program.
Yeah.
If the taxes on that's higher than my house.
That is crazy. That's for a half?
Not an
That's
exemption.
a half, $7.90 a half.
Yeah, there's no homestead exemption on it, that's why.
That's why.
But you might be able to, even if they can't reassess it, you may be able to challenge the assessment on the basis that it's not habitable, and maybe they can reduce it that way. So there may be 2 different ways that you can address it.
Go talk to
I went up and talked to them, and they said, but they were on there January the 1st.
Right.
They said, well, we got pictures. Oh, we don't want to see them. She finally looked at the pictures, the lady, and after she seen the ripped tarps, and the tarps been there for 8, 10 years.
Right.
I said, it's junk. And she says, no promises, but there may be ways of getting around. So I go better talk to them about this.
Yeah, well, like I said, if they can't just remove it from the tax rolls as of January 1 because the building's still there, you might be able to challenge the current assessment because the building is unsafe and uninhabitable.
Right.
And that may allow them to modify the assessment down. Okay?
But you also must...
Dave, on the utilities, did you have all that?
Yeah, you notice that out there in the alley,
He needs to realize that
that's
the
where gas
taxes
company
are
come and dug out and took that out.
So he's
The
paying for
line
it.
is in the ground.
And he's not going to go over there and not blow it up and get pissed off. I mean, just remind him of that.
Yeah, I will.
Council?
Yeah, I will.
All our
Thank
lines
you.
clear out.
I know what you're saying.
Disconnected out of the street.
Okay, Mr. Iowa, one other thing, here's a couple copies, Jeremy, in addition to that one. And then, one thing, Mr. Iowa, you need to understand is taxes are assessed 1 year payable the next.
Yeah.
So, if you do get relief, it's not going to necessarily change your tax bill that's owed in 2019.
Yeah, probably won't do anything for that.
Right, just so you understand that.
We don't need to get upset and go over there and blow up because you're paying for last year's taxes on that deal.
Okay, so the agreement that the board also needs to approve sets out that the building is an unsafe structure. The city's agreeable to taking it down at using city equipment and manpower, provided that Mr. Hirely pays $8,500. That amount gets paid upfront before we commence doing the work. That goes into the unsafe building fund, and then all expenses are paid out of the unsafe building fund. We agree that once we take down the property, that we'll upgrade the property, and then we'll put seed on it even in the spring of next year, if that's better to do instead of this year. The period will be from December 20th to February 28th, weather permitting, and subject to availability of our personnel and equipment, and it's at our discretion of when we schedule it. So it's going to be up to Jeremy to make that call. You know, if we got 5 or 6 snowstorms in January and February, there's a good chance we're not going to be able to get to it at that time. So,
Mr. Highlight, one thing to just make clear, I would assume the city is planning on seeding this one time.
Yeah, yeah.
So don't count on us coming back because you're not happy with the way it comes in or whatever, okay? So
You're not gonna take care of
we just want to be clear on that, and I'm not being bad or anything like that, but we just want to make sure that if you be patient and he gets it in one time, that's what basically our obligation.
that'll be up to you and Jeremy. If it's easier to do it in the spring, then we'll do it then. If it's easier to do it yet this year, we can do that too.
Final question, when will I get my bill on this?
We got to sign that, your copy too.
The bill, once Jeremy schedules when it's going to happen, you need to pay that at least 7 days before we
Before we
start.
come in, okay,
Okay?
okay, that's
We
great.
need that copy there too, right, to sign?
No.
No?
Oh, yeah, is that,
You want us,
Jeremy signed it.
Jeremy signed it, okay.
So, what,
They're all fine.
yeah, so what I need the Board of Works to do is to approve this agreement and authorize Jeremy to sign it on behalf of the city.
I make a motion that we approve to agree to this and allow Jeremy
Sign off on it.
to sign off and schedule it. I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
It's Phyllis's copy.
This is your
Very
copy.
much, everybody.
Yeah, Dave, I'm glad we were able to work it out. It'll make that street look a lot nicer.
Then I get my bear carved in that tree either.
Yeah, there you go. All right, take care. Okay, we covered...
Do we need to sign things?
No.
Okay.
I already did Joan McConnell, right? Yep. Yep. Jeremy just went out. We'll talk about Cottonwood update. Don and Kurt, you might want to listen in. We're going to talk Cottonwood update. The latest is that he has hired dirt contractors out of Huntington to do the rest of the demolition and hauling everything away. The agreement he has with them is that he doesn't have to pay the bill until the work is completed. And they started today. And they were only there a couple hours, and they hit a gas line, had a gas leak. And NIPSCO came out, Jeremy went out there, the fire department was there. Koss is trying to convince everybody that he had called NIPSCO a month ago to get this done, but NIPSCO has no record where he called them, so believe who you want to believe. I know who I believe. Long story short, Jeremy kind of called for some favors with NIPSCO, and Jeremy will they have that done tomorrow or when?
Cottonwood,
Yes,
it'd be probably early next week.
early next week, which normally it can take up to 30, 45 days. So Jeremy really did get a favor out of NIPSCO. In the meantime, I don't know, Jeremy, I drove by there 3 o'clock this afternoon. There was a bulldozer or something out there demoing, but no trucks. Are they?
I believe they're taking all the waste out of solid waste.
Well,
Because the trucks come back pretty quick.
Okay.
So they are loading trucks and going out there.
Does Jeff, I assume Jeff was, oh, jeez.
I'm out of it, Jim.
I know.
Not a problem. And to make the clarifications, I didn't call in any favors with NIPSCO on that retirement.
Okay.
They're just tired of dealing with it.
So,
is Jeff, is he even aware that, is it going out there? I guess that's
They're coming back from the south, so it's not the only place that they get to go with it. They're coming back really quick.
it's not on a county road or a farm or anything, is it?
County that fast.
Well, I don't. I know, but what I'm trying to say is, okay. I don't trust that guy.
oh, you think you might be putting in the hole somewhere? Yeah, I might hear you. Yeah. Might have struck a deal.
I'd hope it's in a fringy, not in a fringe area either.
We don't have a fringe.
I might inquire tomorrow. I'll do that. I'll inquire to what he's doing, and if it is going up solid waste, I'll just check with Jeff and let him know, hey, we had nothing to do with it. Don't give us...
Is he allowed to do that?
Yeah, you can take it there, but the problem is, it can overwhelm their personnel at the solid waste district. They don't know it's coming, because they gotta have more trucks available to haul to the landfill.
While we're talking about Cottonwood, we'd already kind of briefly talked about this. The cost has an outstanding utility bill here with the city, $6,000 and some odd dollars, and he's pleading with me by text message. Here's what I told him. I said, you have a city utility invoice that's past due for $6,386.15. I believe the date it would go to collections is December 10th. I'm not positive on that. Kevin's not here. If it goes to collections, 40% gets added to the total amount. He replied back, I will have the money to pay for the final water bill when this deal closes. I don't have the money right now. Please don't send it to collections. The cleanup is costing twice as anticipated, so this has caused a cash shortage. So, as I understand, we can hold it back and not take it to collections. We could hold off till the next go-around, which would be January 10th, probably another month. And hope that the closing happens by year end like it's supposed to, and we get our cash from that. Or we can play hardball and send it to collections, and we still only get our $6,300. The rest, the 40% goes to the collection agent.
Right.
So we don't get any more either way. But I think we need to make a decision so I can let him know.
Quick question.
Yep.
For council. On late payments, is there a charge that we charge as a city
Yeah. If
for
there's
a late payment?
delinquent fee, yeah.
Just a delinquent fee?
Yeah.
Then how about if we,
Use the same.
Yes.
Can we though by...
can we just charge?
I'd have to
them
look at the ordinance and see what it says, because you can only charge what the ordinance allows. If you get a
We
judgment,
can't just make something up and do it.
Well, no, I'm just asking if it's common practice for the city, if somebody is 15 days late on a utility bill.
there's a late charge, yeah.
Is there a late
Kevin-
charge?
Yeah, there's a late charge.
Where's Kevin?
Kevin?
He's at a water seminar.
Oh, okay. So the answer will come when he gets back.
Why don't we just table this
Can we
until
table this, Ken?
next January 10th?
Ooh,
December 18th.
December 18th, maybe better.
When did they close it?
They are, according to the agreement, he has with Josh Heck, is by year end.
Oh, you're not gonna be able to make it.
I have no idea how it works.
Once it gets turned over to collection, then he has to deal with the collection agency.
Yeah, so
Right.
I'm not really worried about the collection portion of it. but I'd like to table this until the close
something like that.
of his deal. Not necessarily, and then if there's a rated percentage that we charge for delinquency other than collection, do we not have anything like that in our ordinance?
I can look.
Our next meeting's not till the 18th, and
Yeah.
supposedly the next time we take things to collection is the 10th, which is before our next meeting. Do I tell Kevin to hold off until our next meeting?
I'd hold off until the closing, until after it's closed.
If you agree, Ken.
No, I agree. I think it's fine.
I don't want to pay somebody else 40% of the bill to
Right.
chase him down and disrupt this.
I think you're going to be better off getting paid at closing because
Yeah, because he's
the
keeping
funds
it
are
out there.
available, and
Right.
what you're doing
Money in
is...
his hand and let him run with it, you might lose it.
He never sees that. It goes directly to us.
Exactly.
So,
On that transaction.
yes.
Nothing I
And
want.
that's, I think you're better off that way than turning it over to collection and then pursuing him to get paid, because,
And you know how that works with the write-offs that we get every year.
yeah.
Half those people don't pay.
So is it wise to table it, council?
Yeah, I think you're fine with not, I think all you have to make a decision tonight is whether you're going to send it to collection on the 10th, well, you're saying you're not, so that's the only decision you really need to make tonight.
Okay. A motion to table until our next Board of Works meeting?
Okay.
Second.
A second, all in favor of that? Aye. Okay, so I'm going to advise Kevin not to take it to collections right now, and that we would bring this back up at our December 18th meeting and go from there.
And then you'll let cost know?
Yeah. Yep. Okay, moving on, better things. Jeremy, you're up again.
At least we'll get the money.
Because, especially, you know, and the worst, the agreements with closure to be paid.
Any outstanding bills?
Jethro says that's why he's got that jug.
We'll submit that to Adam, and we're saying make sure...
Jeremy wants to grind some concrete. You got a little bit of concrete out there, Jeremy?
I do.
You got a lot of concrete out there.
I forgot to bring that with me. Hang
Well,
on there.
Well, maybe you don't want to.
Yeah, I do, actually.
When we grind up, okay, all the excess concrete, when we take out sidewalks, whatever, it all goes down to the city garage, and then every now and then you hire somebody to come in and grind that up, or...
Yeah, and we have a tremendous amount of concrete this year due to
construction.
the, not so much our stuff.
Yeah, we've opened
We
it
ended
up.
up taking all of the concrete out of Woodcrest, or
Yeah.
from Woodcrest, from the contractor, and charged him accordingly. So we have quite the mountain out there. The concrete crushing is under basically just a professional service. And I received a quote from Go Green. I only received one quote since it is classified as professional service for $5.98 per ton.
And how does that compare to what we have previous?
It's about right in there. I think last year it was like 580 something, all the way up to about 640. To buy it at the quarry, you're about $8, $9, $10.
Right.
What size will they crush it into, Jeremy?
73.
73s?
So,
And you wanted to do some of that and pay some of it this year and some next year? Is that
no.
not
What
the
what
plan
we're
now?
going to do is when we schedule it, I have so much in the budget for 19, and then the utilities kicks in so much because
You get
the
it.
utilities haul everything into there. About 90% of the pile that's generated there, probably not quite 90, comes from the utilities anyhow, the utilities and the sidewalk fund. So we just basically pull some money together when that time comes, and just take care of the crushing at that point. We never crush the whole pile. You know, it's just kind of prorated, kind of see how the winter goes and what they get crushed in basically a week's time. A week's time, they normally do about 6,000 ton, which will, sorry guys.
Do you through the winter?
time.
which will get us a good portion of the year. Sometimes it doesn't.
There's a massive pile up there.
That's right.
They set a stone door so you can drive the dump truck up on there.
Yeah, it's a big pile.
How much stone's out there, Don? though? Is there a point where we have too much stone?
Well, you gotta remember, you guys are gonna build a water plant here real soon, so a lot of that material can be used up. That's the goal.
Will that be used as a base for the road?
This is the cheapest crushing we're gonna get, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You can't buy stone for that.
Yeah.
And you,
So,
I don't know how much they've charged. They've charged some to get that. I mean, people are paying.
Yeah, we're paying, some people are paying to bring us their concrete.
contractors are paying $6.
It's a win-win for us.
What does a dump cost, you know?
I want to say it's $6 a yard, or maybe more than that.
Nice.
I think it's 6 a yard.
So we're getting a stone for about $1.50, $2 a ton.
Yeah. It's a no-brainer. It looks great, too.
I say we encourage this forever.
Part of going from reuse to recycling.
Yeah, it's a brilliant thing.
When we started this,
You know,
we had
I
the
used
room.
to be in a business where I'd hate to discourage
You wouldn't like it.
This is a bad thing.
It's bad. You guys don't want that. It's not virgin material. But today I would say yes.
Can he normally pop it out like that? Okay, I didn't realize that. It's amazing how it moves with the other liner. We talked about it one day in my office. I can't tell which one is your bad one. It's a fantastic job.
Yeah, Craig, before we owned the Baker and Schultz property, we didn't do this.
Right.
We didn't have room.
Well, you were purchasing it from somebody else.
You stop and think about what we
Buying
have
virgin material.
at the Baker Schultz property, and that Jeremy whines about not having enough room down there. We used to put everything in that one big building down there on 3rd Street.
Yeah, right across from your house. Right.
And when I first got on council, they took me down to the basement of that building.
I never would go down there. I wouldn't go down
Go
there.
down there again for,
All
no
this big
kidding.
equipment on top of our head.
Right. I've been down there, and it was full of water.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Long time. Getting a little wear on it, I need a new one. Okay. Anyway, back to what I was saying. In a normal year, when we're putting in a lot of water mains, we'll go through about 1.5 miles of that a year. Last year, we didn't put in quite as much water main because we used that as backfill. So we have quite a bit left on the pile, but we're running out of room around the fuel island, around the shop, so I'd really like to get some kind of...
Well, like while you're out of the room, we're talking about that. I mean, this is just a no-brainer. You just need a rubber stamp from us. I think Craig's ready to...
Yeah, I agree. One question. Do we own the property to the west of that where the dirt's rode up?
Yep.
Do we own that property, the
We're
grass
all the way
property?
over to 11th Street.
There's another 10 acres there,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
How many tons you want to crush up? 6, 7,000, 10,000?
I gotta see what Kevin can afford.
Right.
I'd like to probably this year push the bid number, not be above the 50,000 to where we'd have to bid it out. So I think I've got about 30,000 in there for 19 out of MVH, and I'd probably like to get about 15 out of Kevin.
Okay.
So that'd make a pretty good dent in the pile.
Oh, yeah. $6 a ton.
Yep.
Go, man. I make a motion that we allow Jeremy to crush
$5.98 a ton with Go Green.
580 from Bill Green. When can he start, Jeremy?
He didn't say. He's been after me for the last month or so to get an answer, so I would assume they like to get it before it gets real cold, because you know how the cold is on that equipment.
Does he bring in a mag?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
To pull the steel out of it?
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Did you second it?
Carbach did. Okay, and then Jeremy also needs a couple of truck beds.
With all the work that we've been doing the last several years, we have a couple truck beds that are in really sad shape. One of them is just, it's been a removal truck for years, so with all the concrete, it's really, really beat up pretty bad and rusted out. That The first truck, the bigger of the two, is actually in next year's budget. It's in 19's budget. I budgeted, I think it was around $8,500 for that bid. The price actually came back at $87.63. And then, so that would be paid out in 2019. I'd like to start by asking permission to order that one. That was, they're about 12 weeks out, so I'd like to get it ordered so we can possibly get it put on when the salt box comes out of it. So
Is that a tandem bed? Or for a
no,
tandem?
that's actually a single.
Single axle?
Correct.
Do they put it on?
We will put it on.
We put it on.
Yeah.
Who'd you buy it from?
The quote, the low quote is from W.A. Jones out of Columbia City.
Okay.
The other quote was from Hoosier Truck and Trailer out of New Haven for $10,140.
So what type of bed is it? What brand?
It is a Champion, well, it's a Champion hoist, so it would be like a Galleon
Galleon?
bed, so.
Okay. What was Hoosier?
Right up your alley, huh, Chris?
Kyle?
No, the Hoosier is it's called an ITB.
Okay.
It's kind of an off-brand for $10,140.
All right. So you're looking at the 8763?
$87.63 on a 12-week lead time. That would be paid out of 19's budget.
Motion to purchase a truck bed?
Second.
Motion and a second to buy a truck bed payable in 2019 for $8,763. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
What truck does this go on?
That would be truck number 89.
Which is?
It's Jed's old truck, the one that we have the other salt box in. And then the second request would be is we have a single axle dump, it's a 1-ton dump truck. And if I can make it work out, I've got some extra money left in equipment in this year's budget. That bed is also beat up pretty good, and it's rusted out really, really bad. It's the one that you see Joe Avalos running around in a lot, that white 1-ton.
Wait a minute, that's a street sweeper.
Well, that too. But anyway, the low quote on that bed was also W.A. Jones at $74.33.
How much?
Compared to $10,740 for Hoosier truck.
$74.33?
$74.33.
33. And what truck number?
That truck number doesn't have one.
Okay. Just a single axle 1-ton?
Yep. That would also basically be about a 12-week lead time, so we will get through the winter months and get that one put on before we get busy in the spring.
And that would be paid out of
the
2018 funds that you encumber over?
We would encumber into 19.
So you got something else you're going to throw concrete chunks into? You got an old bed?
You'll make do with what you have for...
We've got other trucks.
Okay. So you're retiring these, throwing those beds away and getting new ones? And
But the trucks are still good enough to put beds on them.
the frames?
Probably
and
the
gas.
last time that we put beds on them.
Okay.
And then we'd be retiring the truck altogether.
Did you already get a motion in a second?
No, not
A
on the
motion to purchase the 1-ton single axle truck bed from W.A. Jones for $74.33.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We'll talk about this next.
Yep. Like we talked in the last meeting on the community crossings award, I did meet with NDOT last week. We had a very large meeting up there, and they went through the processes. And I'll just be real brief here on how this is going to work. This would be the last round of how these projects are handled this way. What we need to do is get all the specs written, all the bid specs, basically the bidding documents and everything, ready. Prior to, it has to be bid out by April the 15th, by tax day. What we need to do is with the engineering and such is enter into an agreement with, I would recommend Butler, Fairman, Seifert to basically walk us through this process and assist with the bidding, and also assist with the construction phase, the closeout.
Fairman, Seifert.
We're going to have enough stuff going on next year that I'm going to assist them once it goes to construction, but with this kind of money, I would like to hire Butler, Fairman for that process.
I think it's kind of a no-brainer. Butler, Fairman, Seifert is who Jeremy used to submit our application. They helped us get this far. And we're using them for some other things, redevelopments. They're doing a feasibility study for our 13th Street corridor. Toby Steffen's the rep that Jeremy works with, good guy.
The compensation for the bidding phase is $19,500. The construction phase, the inspection is not to exceed $8,500. The $19,500 is also not to exceed, but if it works like anything else, they're getting right up there to where they're quoting it. But what we will do is, I filed for request for 2 contracts, since we have 2 applications. NDOT will be getting me a contract probably within a month that the Board of Works will need to sign. And what that does is once we sign it and get it back to them, they get to central office, and the central office signs off on it, then I can request a PO. Once we request the PO, and this goes out for bid, we will bid it. It will be the normal bidding, the bidding requirements required by law. We will not be able to use our annual bids. But once that is accepted, reviewed, and awarded, they will fill us a check for the bid amount, for the total bid amount. And then we will be on our own to make sure that everything's completed. And then we will have to turn back in the completed documents to close the project out within, I think, 6 months or so of the completion. Talking with Toby, we'd like to get on this sooner than later. You always want to get these bids out in the winter when there's not a lot of work scheduled. Obviously, these won't be paved until probably May, June, that era. But this is very exciting.
How quick until they start, do you think they'll be prepared for bids? February, March?
Probably January, February.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
$28,000 for bid process and construction phase?
Correct.
Is this just asphalt paving, or is there anything additional in that?
It would be asphalt paving and all the street markings, the center line markings and everything.
Okay.
Crosswalks, stuff like that. So, the handicap ramps, the few that are there, we're going to handle through our ADA program. So we don't get a bunch of inflated costs through
And
contractors?
The contract. So you would lose a lot of money on the
That's a
flat work.
good idea.
So we'll get more than likely Taylor or Fighter or somebody to come in and do the ramps, as long as they're within spec on what's required. NDOT's not going to come and look at them, but we need to make sure that they're...
Will Butler, Fairman, Seifert give you the specs on the handicaps?
They can probably be additional cost.
Okay.
So it's pretty straightforward.
All right.
If with the oil prices dropping, is that going to help with the asphalt costs?
That will help.
Okay.
As long as they stay down at bid time.
I was at Mayor's Institute last Thursday and Friday, and at breakfast on Friday morning, I was sitting at a table with about 8 other mayors, or 7 other mayors. And I think I was the only one at the table that got a community crossings award this time around. Now, last year they all got them and I didn't, so I thought it was kind of fun. But you know, like Napanese mayor was sitting right next to me, and they've got him the last 2 times, and he was really about sick about not getting this. They were really counting on it.
They won't get them that many times in a row.
For some reason, they sure seem to think they will. As long as their application is good, they don't understand why they're not getting it.
like they
So,
told us at
well,
NDOT, they're
Trash
only
Tower.
gonna let you go a couple rounds before you get everything closed out.
Yeah.
And those first two
I asked him
rounds,
if he had everything closed out. He said, yeah, they were done.
the first two rounds that they had done, a lot of them weren't closed out, and they tried to satisfy or please a lot of people, a lot of groups of people. So if Craig Koshaw asked for $1 million, but Carpenter, or Carball only asked for a couple hundred, but they only had 100 for Bill, they would pull 100 out of Craig's to give 200 to Bill, or 50. Well, and then they found out that they were shortchanging everybody's projects. So what they did this round is they went to an automatic. If Craig Koshaw applies for $1 million, and he shows need for $1 million, we're going to give him $1 million. If Bill goes for 100, we're going to give Bill 100. They're taking the stance that there's no more shortchanging the communities. You may have to wait a whole nother round, or a whole nother 6 months to get everything that you applied for. So, they had a lot of complaints of communities getting shortchanged.
I make a motion that we continue with Jeremy's request of Butler Furman Cipher, the bid process, and also with the construction phase for $28,000.
Not to exceed. Second, Bill? Second. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. You both will need to sign that. An update on 213 Rugg Street. We, at the last meeting, talked about the letter that was sent out to Tia Petrowski. And I think I emailed you all of them and found out that she doesn't own the property. Her mom does, Lisa Kleintaub. Tim, you sent Lisa Kleintaub a letter?
Yep, and you need to make that a matter of record.
Okay.
November 6th.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second that this letter has been... How was it sent, Tim?
It was sent certified
Regular
mail and
certified
regular mail.
And you got a return receipt?
I did not, so I don't know if it got served by regular or certified mail, but it was mailed out by regular mail.
Okay. I got a motion and a second to verify this letter. She will have until...
She has till today.
Okay. Unless you and your daughter have removed all personal property, refuse, trash, garbage, and other waste on your property owner before Tuesday the 4th, the city personnel and/or its contractors shall enter your property. Okay, so we're right back to where we were 2 weeks ago. It looks the same today as it did 2 weeks ago. It's still a mess. I went by today. So I will call Lisa Kleintaub tomorrow and let her know that we'll be coming, and she'll be the one getting invoiced. Correct?
Both of them.
Both of them. Okay. So I got a motion and a second. All in favor to make this a matter of record? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And is this for Phyllis or?
Yes.
This is for Phyllis. That's that. Okay, let's get Carrie. Let's get all the boys up here now, and the men, and Carrie. Carrie sent the email out, and I think I forwarded it on to everyone about the agreed order with IDEM and what our options are, and that there's not going to be a option to do, say it again, high rate treatment. I always have HRT, and I can't remember what it stands for. High rate treatment is just not going to be an option. So with that, we have until the end of this year to, what do we have to do, send a letter, or is it?
We have to do our phase 4 development plan. We have to have a plan in place by the end of the year as to what we're going to do and how we are going to capture this 10-year 1-hour storm.
Okay, not engineered or anything, just basically something saying that we're going to utilize the use of a second storage tank. and it's been recommended to us by our engineering firm that this size tank is what we're going to need, and that from here we will now pursue where to place that tank. That's what we need to do between now and year end. We had a department head meeting today, and we talked about this as well, and Craig and I talked also. We're going to have AECom, in addition to, once we get this letter out, this probably won't happen until after the first of the year sometime, because not enough time yet this year. We would like to have a meeting with IDEM, with the engineers, IDEM, any of the members of the council that want to come, just to kind of get in front of them and let them know, where we're at, see if there's any chance of us getting a little extended time on this. Like Don said today, we won't know until we ask. Worst they can say is no, that we've agreed to this and this is what it is. But I also said to them today, I said, IDEM is not the enemy. While they mandate us to do a lot of things, they're not the enemy. They're people too, and they're doing their job, and we might be able to convince them to give us some extra time. And if so, then maybe we can do some things locally to keep us from having to build as big of a tank. So, like I said, until we can meet with them and at least state our case, we won't know that. So, tonight what we need is the okay for Kerry to proceed with the letter or whatever it is we have to do.
I don't think I need your okay, because that was already done.
Okay.
Kind of agreed to
Yeah,
that.
we
but-
just wanted to kind of give an update tonight.
Okay.
That's what
That we are going to proceed with,
the tank.
That a high rate was one of the options,
And now
and
it's
if it
no
isn't,
longer.
then we have no choice but to let I know what our intent is.
Correct.
so are there any comments or questions on this?
In the order, when we say we're going to do a tank, how soon does the tank have to be built?
They are wanting bidding by February of 2020. So by the end of next year, December of 2019, we kind of need to have, this is what our plan is, so that we can bid it in February, or by February.
And so we have the options of where we're going to put it. It can be, whether it would be out in the mulch pile, compost pile, whether it be on the grounds of the Highland Games Park area, or on this side of the river. It's Kerry and Don and Jeremy and everyone's opinion that likely, even because of having to buy real estate, that we might be able to buy 2 or 3 parcels of real estate on First Street, and it would still be cheaper for us to put it on this side of the river. And if we put it on this side of the river, it's another big old ugly tank sitting there, but like they said, once the tank's there, we can do what we want with it. If we want to paint Decatur on it, if we want to paint mural on it or whatever, we can. Of course, then you have to maintain that, but or we could create a fence that goes around it and hide some of it, whatever. But most likely, one of those options would be to buy out the Steve Lytle property, as well as at least 1, maybe 2 of the homes next to that.
What if they don't want to sell?
Does Steve Lytle know anything about this?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question, Carrie. We discussed this yesterday. We had talked about that they have flow meters or flow, and Don, I saw Don this morning, and he said that the engineers were going to come up with results of the changes that we've made in the past with this plan that we put together. Does it actually have to reflect today's conditions, or can it, if we make corrections in our wastewater, can we reduce the size of that with the plan that we have, or do we have to engineer this tank starting tomorrow or before the end of the year?
I am not 100% sure on that one.
The way I understood it, Craig, was it's going to be a range. The tank will be between this size and this, It's a pretty wide range to cover that.
Okay, so if we have information that says that our waste has decreased because of the changes and the corrections we've made, it could possibly help us.
I think his plan's gonna say like a 2.2 million gallon tank to a 3 million gallon.
Okay, so there's room.
There's some
Yeah,
adjustments.
nothing's been set in stone.
They're not
It has to be
engineering the
built.
tank right now.
Correct.
They're telling a plan. Okay.
Basically, they're just saying, in order to meet the criteria of avoiding a discharge in a 10-year rain event, we're going to build a tank to hold the effluent until it can be metered out to the treatment plant and treated there. So the size of it is still to be determined.
Okay, thank you.
Is the location to be
Yes,
Yes.
that's not final.
Is there any room, for example, is there enough room across from the Riverview Tavern, for example? Or is there enough room across from the filtration plant now? I mean,
We looked into, we listed 9 different locations, and a lot of them are in a floodway or a floodplain. which
those are probably that
which
way.
prevents it from being at some
Right.
of these locations.
Gotcha.
So right now, our best options are the current site at the northwest corner,
Yeah,
at the Highland Games, or the property on First Street.
gotcha.
And the other reason for that, as I understood, is it's where the infiltration is coming in, that you have to capture it at that site. So a lot of that's coming,
It's more cost-effective
Right.
if you capture it
Right.
there.
because I think a lot of it comes from the downtown area.
I was just thinking keeping it somewhere out of sight.
Right.
I mean, out of sight as much as we can, I mean.
Well, I'd just like to make it a matter of record tonight, if we could,
Yeah,
that
I
we,
could.
that Kerry will proceed with our agreed order notification to IDEM.
I'd like to make that a sure, notice of record.
And Bill just assured it, so that's a second.
And by the way, thank you, Carrie, for bringing me up to speed yesterday on the,
Yeah,
because I missed the last meeting.
yep. So all in favor of that? Aye. Opposed? Okay, and then, while you're all three here, did you three have a chance to talk today about a possible camera? Okay.
Okay, I'll start out anytime you guys wanna,
Jeremy?
comment-wise.
I do have more to go over yet, so let's try to limit this maybe 10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, back in, when Nate Roomshog first came to the city, when we were working through all these I&I issues and IDEM, we established a cleaning, sewer inspection and cleaning program. Soon after that, Nate bought a little push camera. It's a plumber's camera, what you see the plumbers use. You get out about maybe 100 feet, and that's about all that you can go. We use it particularly in like little tap issues, or we have a little sinkhole or something, we can shove it down in there and look around. But at the same time, we demoed a few different camera systems years ago. Never really found one that we felt real comfortable with. When Don come aboard, what's it been, almost 2 years ago now, we went to a couple of conferences together. We went back and we looked at some other camera systems. Well, skipping ahead a little bit, we demoed one recently. I think Bill and Wiley and Craig was around. I think Ken was around that day when we did a demo.
Yeah.
What we are going to ask tonight is for you guys to at least consider purchasing a camera system to do inspections on these sewers, looking for some of these I&I issues, looking for sewer failures, being more proactive instead of waiting on the problems to arise. We have numerous issues, sewer issues, where we go out and there's a sinkhole in the road. Well, the only way you're going to know that there's a sinkhole forming right now is to wait on the hole to show up in the road. We have sewers that we need to, at some point, we need to look at lining. We have combined sewers still within the city where the storm's in the sanitary and the sanitary's in the storm. They're supposed to be in separate sewers. We have a lot of areas to where they went through phase 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 of the sewer project that we're still having issues in. That we continue to find issues that with a system like this, it would be a whole lot easier to find. You wouldn't be having a lot of holes to find them. Skipping forward a little further, anyone that's coming up to the summer concert series, this summer has watched us cover up the catch basin drains on Madison Street because of the sewer smell. We still have sewer taps in the downtown area that's still in the storm. Once we did this brief, go ahead and start those and I'll get up and talk a little bit. But once we did these, this camera demo, this is in the Madison Street sewer, over where the plaza is. You can see anywhere where you're seeing white is sewage. So at 2nd Street, you're getting sewage into the sewer. This has already been through a separated project. We know part of the courthouse is going into the storm sewer. We don't know where without digging up the street. We're having other issues to where we're having flooding issues in the storm sewers. There's no way of knowing without going out and jetting and punching holes in the road to figure out what's going on. You're seeing this place where we jump into some storms and there's several inches of stone in the bottom of the storm sewers. So basically what we're trying to do is go a little bit further with the program that Nate Rumsflag and I initiated, is going forward and looking at the possibility of buying a camera system to where we can spend some time, go out and inspect these sewers, clean the sewers, and make any sewer repairs. This is pretty common in a lot of these sewers. This is gravel and debris. This is in a storm sewer in an area that floods a lot. So, you know, you can see that we didn't know it was there. We knew we had drainage issues. We didn't know it was there until we put the camera in it.
It's actually a broken tile that's causing that rock to go in there. And after you see this, I'll show you a picture of when it's flooding. See the bubbles coming up in the street where the air's coming up out of the ground because the water's going through the break in the pipe. And it's just a repair.
What kind of pipe is that right there?
That's concrete.
That's all concrete.
The pipe, the road hasn't failed yet, but there's obviously a void because the rock's in the pipe. It's creating a void. Yeah.
If you go a couple blocks downstream, you can start to see daylight. We don't know if it's a catch basin. We don't think it's a catch basin because we're probably 2 blocks or so.
Where's this at, do you know?
At 16th Street from Nutman to Monroe. But once you get past Monroe, you're seeing daylight, and we don't know if it's in a yard. You know, we are very limited on our time on the demo. A lot of these, once you progress forward, and I know you said that we need to conserve a little time here, you're seeing a lot of toilet paper in the storm. You're actually seeing some turds in the storm if you look close enough. They're not supposed to be there. You know, it's misconnections and stuff over the past, which you don't know until you get inspecting and cleaning. And, you know, if it wasn't put in the last 10, 15 years, you know, what kind of condition it is. You don't even know what condition the new stuff's in, for sure. I'm very apprehensive. I know Cam and I have talked, and a lot of us have talked about doing more work in the downtown. We need to make sure that what we have downtown and even other areas are stable to be doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, improvement work, so we're not digging them back up.
Most Thursday nights, we were getting sewage smells, and we actually covered a couple of grates to keep that from coming up.
And we're looking at paving almost 30 streets next year.
You know, the cost of that paving, ever since I got on council, was that I would prefer to have the infrastructure underneath the streets proper before we pave it.
Mm-hmm.
I think this gives you an opportunity prior to paving a street, at least to run a camera down through there and see what your structure looks like.
Yeah.
we're spending a lot of money on asphalt.
As I told Jeremy today,
Wouldn't this give you a more accurate cut on where a problem is too? I mean, you can go right down to the foot,
You
the
can,
tenth of a foot, can't you?
you can even get in here and raise this camera up so much and look, pretty much look down that tap and see into people's taps so far. Because it's got basically headlights on the front of the machine where you can look down in there and see, kind of give them an idea. Another thing that we found over at the courthouse, when we put the water main in out front, we put a new fire hydrant at the courthouse. We didn't know the fire hydrant was defective until we did the camera demo. We saw water running in the storm sewer. Whenever we shut the fire hydrant off, shut the auxiliary off, the water went away. So you're also, you would potentially start to find some water leaks that don't surface right away until they actually flow. So it's not just sewer. Your majority of your use would be for sewers and sewer inspections, but like I've said numerous times, you can see what I'm talking about with it raising up and being able to see down the tap so far. This infrastructure is just like us. It has birthdays just like us. And I know I'm not getting any younger.
Jeremy, on this kind of a camera, you can use it on storm drains and sanitary sewer, but not water?
You can't use it in water, due to contamination,
Right.
being able just to get in there. But you're going to be able to see, especially in the dry days, in the dry months when you're doing inspections, if you start seeing water running in the top of the pipe.
It's gotta be coming from somewhere.
Yeah, if it hasn't rained in 5 days, like that particular time, it hadn't rained in a week, but we had a large flow of water coming in.
So you knew it was from the fire hydrant.
You're also, well, and you can trace it out because it says right on the screen how many feet you're out.
that's 325 feet out. How far will that thing go?
About
1,500.
between 11 and
Gee, me.
1,500.
Wow.
We actually dropped in at First Street into the Madison Street sewer and went to the other side of Third Street and never popped a manhole lid while we went.
What if you run into an obstruction of some type? Does it have the capability of jetting it out, or do you have to run something
You have
else
to
in
run
to do
our
that?
jetters to do
You'd
it.
have to run the jetter.
If you see, it's the other video where it was going through the debris, it is capable of driving through a lot. I mean, it's, that area right there is fairly deep.
You can see the tracks through there.
It drove right through it.
It's all-wheel drive.
Right in there.
Yeah. How much and where's the money coming?
Well, there's some options. We haven't really settled on exactly what we want yet. We're trying to get some feedback from everyone. We've talked to Kevin. Kevin's okay with pursuing with something, either splitting it up 50-50 between storm and wastewater, or 60-40, or however he sees and we see that, it's going to make the most sense. There's a couple of options, from up to a skid unit that fits in the back of a truck to a truck-contained system. The truck-contained system is more money, but you're protected. You got to keep in mind these are all cameras, and these are computers, and these are basically TV screens.
The good day they had that one here, and I went down and looked at it. It was like a guy was sitting there at a desk in this contained cab, and he had a joystick like he was playing a video game with a monitor in front of him, and he was just looking at what he was doing, just driving that thing down the. It's really cool.
And as you look at the I&I issues, there are some areas that we know that there's hot spots still. And we could build a 3 million gallon tank next year, and in 5 years, IDEM can come back and say, well, we're sorry, but we're still getting a lot of water, you need to build another one. Or it should have been 5 million. It's like changing the oil in your car. You're going to change the oil in your car, or you're going to run it until it blows up. We need to be more proactive in looking at where some of these issues are coming from. You have old brick sewer mains running down Monroe Street, Madison Street, Jefferson, and some of these that, are either going to need to be lined at some point and or replaced. These old alley sewers are going to need to be dealt with. Anyway, cutting to the chase, I got a little windy and you need to get going, but a system just to give you an idea, the system on what's called HGAC buy, which is a, off of the state bid, it's like we bought the street sweeper, for all of the equipment, and some of this we need to talk about with Ethan on the GIS before we would really decide what avenue we would go to, is $249,850. That's with the truck and everything.
That includes a truck.
Yep.
That includes that, so we just...
And what the truck is you're just paying for the truck, the truck in the box.
So,
This is built in Orlando, Florida.
$250,000.
$250,000.
There is, I did receive a phone call today. Kevin's down in French Lick with some other vendors. Another vendor from Indianapolis called today wanting to sit down maybe next week and discuss what they have, which would be an option.
I don't think tonight we're not here to give you approval or whatever, but I think what we need is just kind of a rubber stamp for you to go ahead and continue the investigation of it, and the whatever optional ways there are. I mentioned to Jeremy, if we don't get a truck, could we buy a truck? You see Marshall Zimmerman has trucks around town that he sells. They're used. Could we buy a used truck and make our own setup? And I just want to know all the options. And then also I mentioned to Jeremy, I said that if we have this camera, we're going to go out and we're going to find more work. We have more work. Do we have the workforce to take care of it?
You're going to spend $250,000, Mayor. I hope you find some more.
I hope we do.
At some point.
But in the long run, this is what we need to do.
We're going to build a 3 million gallon tank because we haven't...
And what you would do is what we've been doing for years is what Merlin and I call putting the fires out.
Yeah.
We put the bigger fires out, we go down the list, and we start working down some of the smaller ones, turn into bigger ones. And then, at some point, you have to get plumbing involved or somebody involved.
It's just like understanding when early in June, we started getting that disgusting smell. We didn't know what was happening. You guys...
It still hasn't been fixed, has it?
No, it hasn't been fixed, but you guys have a better understanding of what's going on now.
I know what's going on, I just don't know how it's getting in there.
But along with the extra work comes added equipment cost to do the repairs. So, all I'm saying is if we okay at some point in time in the next upcoming months and in sometime in 2019, we get a camera, whether it's in the back of a truck or however we do it. When we do our budget for 2020, we're going to probably need to add
For
repairs, possibly even expand manpower at either the waste treatment or the street department or somewhere. Because if we're going to tackle all these infrastructure issues, it's...
I think the camera...
On the repairs, that's going to be on the user fee and on the utilities.
I was going to say, it doesn't go into the budget.
Kevin wouldn't be able to budgeting,
Right.
other than if we decided we needed to upgrade an excavator or something.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea if we continue with these guys to shop it, check it out, give us the best value for best bang for our buck on this. I've seen the demonstration, I see the possibilities, and I see the future that we're probably going to need it in the next 4 or 5 years. I'd rather be proactive as a council member. So you got my blessing to pursue bids and get the best opportunity
I
for
think
us.
he's going to mandate it in the near future, that you camera everyone in line.
It'd probably go a long way to that conversation that you want to have with items.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, we're looking at that.
If they know,
Some sump pumps and stuff.
if they know we're being proactive, they will support us.
Yeah, so we'll continue on with the looking into it and report back as you can. And
Ben called me today.
This tank is a reaction.
okay,
This is a proactive.
He's the one I want to meet with next week.
okay.
Exactly.
The last thing that I wanted to bring up was I emailed the council members, said, is there anything we want to talk about? And Matt was the one that replied. That was the corner over here. And, Jeremy has talked with,
Brett Arnold and a few other local contractors here.
yeah. his email says, "I've been working with a few locals on a wall spec, and we feel that we have enough information to proceed. The project will exceed our ordinance limit of 50,000, which I checked with several other cities, and everybody's is 50, unfortunately, which we would require us to put it out for public bid. The estimated price is between 55 and 60,000. If and when we put this out for bid under our current ordinance, this number would increase approximately 20% if we have to do it by way of bid, because we're going to have to, due to the bid bond requirements and all the other requirements.
Purchasing.
So,
You just can't.
the wall is the first issue. What we do at the earth part of it is another whole issue, but the wall, like Matt said, you know, we went to the effort, a year and a half ago, something like that, to get that building down, and we haven't done a darn thing. Was it this year? It was in April, wasn't it? Yeah, April you took it down.
If you want.
So basically what we need to do is, what do you want to see? You want to see brick, you want to see block, and you want to put it out for bid, and we have to probably in the neighborhood of 65,000. Regardless which direction you go, you're not going to see a big savings.
You're saying brick won't cost any more than block?
They're saying not after you preserve it and paint the block, and you know, you can do a block alternate.
But a block doesn't necessarily have to be a painted block. I mean, it can...
Got to be preserved, because you sealed that.
Yeah, otherwise it'll be too soft.
Honestly, that's where I was the first time. I was like, if we're going to put a mural on this, why would we spend the money on raising a brick? Why not just do concrete? But you have to preserve it, and you have to do all that anyway. So,
You gotta seal it.
So if you're doing it, then let's do brick.
It mimics the nice looking wall we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't need to have all the little, just a
It can just be a
brick wall. Yeah.
We don't have to have, the inlays, and we'll have to have the floodlights, and
That's all labor, though.
That one was 90. This is smaller. It's 65.
You know what I'm saying?
probably with
The
the
labor's
big
the same
requirements,
if they do fancy stuff, or if they just go straight across.
You won't
Yes.
know until you open up bids on it.
okay.
I'd cover the whole thing up with a sign, like I always said.
Okay.
Sign advertising Decatur and advertising the different events.
I'd like a large bulletin monitor that displays all the activities that's going on in the side of the wall that's happening in Decatur, that publicizes when people drive to Decatur, they see, ooh, this is happening.
Hey, Tyler, I just have a question. I remember when I built and put brick, I don't think there's much difference for the designs in the brick. It's all labor, right?
Yeah, it's all, unless you're going like crazy design.
Right. I mean, when I say that, Ken, I don't mean, they did some cool stuff over here, but it's all still just labor.
Mm-hmm.
For them to change designs in the brick is not really that much more expensive. It's just labor.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's going to really increase it all that much. So if you're going to do brick, do something cool.
Now, the next thing is,
Because it's going to last 100 years, and instead of just going with a straight brick wall.
where do we pay it from?
Can't help you there.
Redevelopment?
We took the building down with the unsafe building fund, right? Well, I'm serious. I mean, if it's part of the renovation of an unsafe building, then
Is that permissible?
I'll have to look at the
I
statute
don't know why it
on
wouldn't be.
unsafe building fund, what permitted uses there. I think you could stretch and make the argument, but
Yeah, if we don't do something, that's an unsafe building, because that's the exterior wall of that building.
I agree. I mean, I think you can make the argument.
That was the interior wall of the building we took down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's still your wall.
Can you argue I don't want to get away from a bid process, someone's the best bid, but if we want a wall that looks like the wall we have, can you have a design element? Can you say we want the same builder to build this wall?
Still gonna put it out for bid.
No. If it's above a certain dollar amount,
If it's over 50 grand, we got to bid it. Is that right? Is that the number?
wall would always
with the
bid
building
statute.
district and I, Amish to do it.
What's your
whose wall does it
Yeah,
become?
I think you can do,
It's our wall.
you can do seal
But what if
quotes.
that building goes into bankruptcy or whatever?
Same thing you have across the street.
What happens? I just asked.
Yeah.
I don't know that is.
Plywood that sucker.
You're talking about the
I'm
exterior
talking
wall.
about that guy that owns that building.
Yep.
Yeah. The building, or the wall is
Get
ours.
Chip Gaines down here.
The wall is ours. What does that mean? I don't mean to be ignorant or...
That means it stands on its own.
Yeah, it used to be a common wall. We took it down, so we have an obligation to put back the common
Whatever
wall.
was there,
Okay, so let's say the building becomes deteriorated
then it becomes our common wall.
and the building falls down.
But our wall should still stand, right?
Look at that, it's just a two-sided wall.
Well,
There's nothing on either side
let's
of
take a
the
real
wall.
look at it. That is a pre-stressed building. It's got double T's in it.
Yeah.
That building will be there longer than anything.
It's gonna
in town.
stand
It's
a
gonna
while.
stand there.
Yeah, that exterior
That-
wall looks like hell.
Regardless of what happens with that business.
Unless it's literally tore down, it's gonna stand there.
It might change ownership, but I don't think that building's gonna be gone.
Okay.
I agree.
Am I out of line, Tyler?
Okay.
You looked at buildings around town.
Listen, why don't we, 7:30, why don't we let Tim investigate, to see if it could come out of the unsafe building fund to do this. We all know we want to do it, and we'll just bring it back up again at the 18th. and-
bring it up so we can...
No, I appreciate,
Explain it in the winter and get...
I appreciate you doing that.
The weathers.
Yeah. Just one of those things that's been,
Thank you.
Can't do it now or next month.
I agree. Okay, Tim, you have anything else for the Board of Works meeting?
No.
Okay, with that, we look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Motion, a second to adjourn. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed?
I'm gonna run and get my glasses.